Yeah, as Wayne said, I'm going to talk very briefly about the need for flexibility in technology and give you a bit of an insight into how that's already being delivered for a growing number of councils across the UK and internationally. I think the need for flexibility, I think there's a number of reasons that are driving that within the delivery of cleansing and wider neighbourhood and environmental services. Firstly, access, where we need to access information, is changing. Many staff are now working from home or in a hybrid capacity. We've got mobile working operatives out on site as well. You know, the pandemics sought to minimise the time in depots or interacting with wider frontline service teams as well. So operatives needing to have access to their information remotely is important. In terms of data, I think data generally for waste collection services is broadly exists in a better starting point than other environmental services. As many of you will be all too aware, data on cleansing services can be somewhat more patchy. It often resides in a multitude of locations, be that spreadsheets, be that paper maps, be that in people's heads as well, and that can represent a real challenge for us. And we've already heard about Stuart's challenges there with even just capturing the data about the bins in Bradford. But obviously the bins are just one part of the wider service that you are delivering and need to have data for. And having that flexibility to use any existing data and capture new data is going to be key for you. Location as well. We've already noted that location of staff, back office and mobile is changing as services need to adjust to meet demand, and the impact of recovering from the pandemic works itself out. Having that ability to manage location information is going to be key, and understand how the demand is changing as well. Also, fourthly, activity. It's highly likely that the type of activity or the volume of it or the place of that activity is going to change in the future in different ways. Just one example, we've already highlighted a few in the talks this morning in our first session, but you know, the popularity of electric vehicles, where charging points are going to need to be and where those are for inspection and maintenance work. You know, that's just one example of a type of asset or service that's going to be changing over the future. And making sure that staff can find and deal with those assets and the work that's been assigned to them quickly is going to be crucial. And fifthly, connectivity as well. Connectivity played out in many different ways, from ensuring that the public are kept up to date and informed, ensuring that digital services are provided to them. Also through connecting to new sources of data as well. So that might be sensors, it might be telematics data, it might be other service areas within the council, or indeed other organisations that exist or operate within your own geography as well. So that's sort of setting out the case, the need for flexibility. In terms of how that's already here, this is Alloy. It's a cloud native, it's a secure system as well. All you need basically is a modern web browser to access it. It's got single sign-on, so it can be linked to other council authentication systems as well. And it's also a mobile app as well that is available for Android and iOS. It provides the tools for operatives in the field to, with it on phones or tablets or in-cab vehicle devices, to also have offline working in ropey mobile black spots as well. But being able to pick up on even on that theme of the volunteers, there's nothing technically stopping volunteers downloading the Alloy mobile app and logging work done or intelligence that's going to support the service out there as well that you're looking to deliver. There's also the API. Being a cloud native system, it means all that it's been designed from the foundations to have as a core part of it. And one of the truly unique things about Alloy is actually that all the data in the system is available through the API, straight out of the gate. So as soon as you start adding any data into the system, it's available through the API. And then there's an extended version of the API, which can, in a single call, can do a whole host of different actions within the system or outside of the system, if you should want to do that and pass that data around. Flexibility with data, being able to create any asset or activity. To us, an asset is just a thing that you need to manage in some different ways. So it can be point-based, polygon-based, line-based, it might be fixed, it might be moving. So again, being able to design that and add that into the system. There's a tool called Data Gateway. This is it. So the users with the requisite permissions can add those designs into that system. You can manage new types of information. So here is an example of an underground refuse storage system earlier this week. there was the launch event by APSE and Liverpool City Council for a new framework that's supporting the adoption of bringing of this innovative technology into the UK. And so here we can see the design of a URS storage container. We can add new fields as you want, say whether those are needed, and all the different data that you need there, and add that. So that, well, it's flexible. This is data. You can add whatever things you need and data and assets you want into the system. It's not constrained by the architecture of the system. So here we're adding some access types to those URS codes there. We're plotting where those are in the back office and managing that. So you can componentize your assets. So here we've got some litter bins. So actually in this one, we've componentized it into an ashtray and a fill level sensor in that one. In this one, we've gone further. We've got the body, the door, liner, and also a fill level sensor as well. So you start to see how you can connect this data and structure the data. We can import any data. So the gateway here, so Stuart referenced the street gazetteer. We know from the wayside, you've got the property gazetteer. Any custom data, any data that you hold in spreadsheets or shape files and GIS data can all be brought into the system very easily as well. And then probably, I suspect, there's lots of data gaps in your service as well. So again, with the mobile application, you can go out and collect the data that you need very easily. You can plot the data on the mobile application. So if it's polygon-based data that you want to map, it might be TPO areas from a grounds perspective, whatever it is that you need to plot. You can do that. You can undertake inspections as well. So that might be your own cleanliness inspections. It might be an APSE LAMS inspection. Any of that data and information can be captured in a mobile form and start to plug those data gaps. If you don't like, Alloy is very visually based, map based. If you prefer tables, you can just switch it to a table view, look at your data as well and interact with it in that form. There's KPI dashboards in there as well. So you've got embedded Microsoft Power BI, so you can start to see what's happening across the service as well and understand that and drill in and get that intelligence as well. And also, because data's changing all the time, isn't it? And actually, it's got automatic auditing of all of those changes, whether that's happened with a user interacting with that data, whether it's happened simply with another input from an external source, like a council website or CRM, whether it's from sensor data and other information coming in. All those changes are recorded. You can easily see that as well. When it was done, who made those changes as well. Then when we look at location, this is key, being able to visualize and see the context of your data. So you can view sort of static information, as it were. So this is showing particular defects that have been recorded, but it might not be static information. You can visualize it how you want and style it in these layers. Yeah, an example of more dynamic data. So where your operatives are, what work's been undertaken as well, what's left to do. And what really makes the system sing, and I think it's hugely important for any of these services that we're looking to deliver, is being able to have workflows that get the system to work how you need it to work, rather than as a supplier us defining what you can do with it. With the workflow, and you can create those workflows, you can update those, you can pretty much workflow anything in the system and have that data coming in, triggering something from activity. So in this example, we've got a fly tip service request coming in, and the system is listening for any of those that are added and then undertaking certain things. It could be that if that fly tip is in a particular location, then something happens. If it's a sharp service request that actually needs a higher priority and a KPI against that, then again, triggering that and automatically issuing that to someone to deal with. This example here, it's actually recording when a public toilet was last cleansed, and actually the system is counting up, as connected to a sensor, how often that public toilet is being used, and therefore rather than only going out and cleaning on a fixed schedule basis, cleaning on a demand-led basis as need be. Also, it talks about activity, being able to see what's completed and what's still left to be done. So we've got a mech sweeper here, what's completed, what's still issued on that particular schedule. Being able to schedule any activity. So again, having the flexibility that Alloy has something called project. So a project can be any type of activity. So it could all be the same type of activity. So it might be litter bin emptying. It could be a combination of different types of activity that you want to do in a given neighbourhood and assigned to a particular team or group of operatives. So again, being able to schedule that and route that as well within the system, manage any schedules of rates against that. So it may be that for some particular aspects of your service you have contractors doing specialist work, might be tree inspections or arboreal work, whatever it is. Actually being able to manage different teams and even their pricing, and have the system identify which would be the most cost effective. Was it an internal team? Is it an external one as well? Being able to assign tasks as well. So as well as the scheduling and the ad hoc work, there's a tool here, almost like a Gantt viewer, if you've got some activity that you want to manually assign, and look at the interplay between that as well, and assign that there. Talked about routing, so we've got here litter bin emptying, being able to intelligently route that and give that a route that then is given to the operatives in the field. Talked about capturing data in the field as well, just to fill that asset register and get your data, but also capture information about the work you undertake. So maybe you actually want to take photos of before and after it. Maybe that the public has sent in a photo that's sent out to the operative as well. Being able to capture signatures, all of this information. QR codes were mentioned as well. So it's got QR codes built in, so it can read those QR codes and use that data, and again trigger things in the workflows. Also flexibility around and creating any budget as well. So you've got that flexibility to create a budget for any asset, a group of assets, a particular type of activity. Then you can start to understand the costs associated with providing that service in a granular way. One example was a customer wanted to understand the cost of their estates management for each block, and they've used Alloy to do that. But then you can start to look at apportioning costs appropriately, maybe between neighbouring councils as they explore opportunities for shared working, things like that. Connectivity as well, we talked about the idea of just being able to see across a whole range of services within the council. So here we've got ground services plotted with cleansing, so you can see litter bins, but all the grounds service assets plotted there. It might be, this example here, public rights of way. They didn't know that. It's just things, it's assets, it's data that we're capturing and using and managing and delivering the service for. Here again, in terms of combining with service requests, we've got the fly tips highlighted there. It could be the current ones that are live, it could be the ones that historically are being shown, giving that intelligence within council areas. Here we've got the waste collection routes, particular Monday week 1 recycling route there. So again, showing waste and other environmental services across there. Connectivity to the customer facing side of things as well. So because all the data in the system is available through the API, we can serve that up to the public, so that the location of benches, trees, bins, whatever it is that you want to provide to the members of the public at the front end, so that they can log service request information you can provide there. Might be even commercial income generating opportunities about sponsoring different assets as well. We've not got time to show this video now, but if you want to follow that link, there's a little video showing Alloy integrated into the Love Clean Streets app. So if you've got that application that anyone in the world can download that app and start contacting and reporting different service requests to their council, that's there and in place as well. And also touched on the sort of income generating possibilities as well. Rather than simply developing a trade waste capability in the system, our approach has been, with all of this, to build the capability to deploy the features of Alloy into any service area you need. So that's true with the financial accounts and invoicing. Means you can look ahead and seek to develop income generating services. You'll be able to use that capability for those services as well. Now we sort of touched on sensors briefly. We've got a partnership with Anivo and an integration in place. So their bin fill level sensors come into Alloy, and you can use this data to not just see what fill levels are, but then integrate into the work and trigger activity automatically using workflows, rather than that information being sat in just another website and another silo of information. So here we go, we've got a workflow using that sensor data to trigger activity there and fill levels of information there. It could be other things. It could be telematics data. It could be when brushes are up and down. It could be seeing examples of talked about public toilets and sensors there, usage information, footfall sensors increasingly being of interest and use in conversations with us. It could be that you put footfall sensors in gates in parks and monitor that to help both quantify the value and benefit of green spaces, but also see whether there's higher demand. Has a particular location been used more recently? If it has, then automatically issue a job or a work instruction the next morning to go and visit and clean that area. So it doesn't just need to be sensors on things. It could be telematics, we talked about, and other things as well. Flexibility, I hope you'll appreciate, is going to be key to ensuring service resilience at a time with so much uncertainty and change. Hopefully what you've seen in this brief time gives you a little insight into how Alloy is helping customers do that. There's a link to a video down there as well at the bottom of that page. And as I close, I know many of us have been struggling with the combination of home working and homeschooling. Last lockdown, our 8-year-old and 10-year-old taught themselves some stop motion skills. So to keep them out of mischief this week, when they'd finished their schoolwork, I challenged them to create something short and relevant for this street cleansing seminar. And here's what they came up with. It's only about a minute long, but I thought I'd play this. Hopefully it will come through okay. There we go. So also, I was going to share as well. If you do want to see any more of their work or even their bloopers reel, there's some links there that you can follow as well. So hopefully that's been helpful, and I'll hand back to Wayne now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Steve. Who needs Brad Pitt when you've got Lego men?